What's good, y'all? It's Voch Lombardi. We're about to head into training camp, and that means Dak Prescott's about to get paid, allegedly. But with that, it comes a lot of questions about his ability to play quarterback. Fans even say that if Dak connects on more deep passes, that would be better as an offense. Well, if any damn quarterback connects more deep passes, that offense will be better. You show me a quarterback that can make 70% of his deep passes, I'll show you the greatest show on turf. Like, passing the ball deep is kind of like three-point shooting. Like, it's no guarantee that the pass is going to be completed. So does Dak have an inaccurate deep ball, or do fans overreact to instant replay like 2 or 3 times that we may have seen Dak miss a deep pass? Well, I like to bust myths wide open, and I did my research and I compared Dak Prescott to some of his peers and other quarterbacks that you would consider elite, and I took a look at the stats, and let me show you how I did it. And this is how I did it. And I screen capped it because I didn't want any shenanigans from y'all. I didn't want y'all to think that I was involved in any shenanigans. I went to my NFL film database and I typed in 2018 Dak Prescott completed passes, right? And I got a page that looks kind of like this, and you can see it says, short passes, and it'll say deep passes. It's just that, these were short middle, short left, short right, whatever. This is what you get. So I looked up Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Carson Wentz, and Jared Goff. Because not only did I want to compare Dak Prescott to the elites, I wanted to compare him to his peers, which is Carson and Jared, because they ass ain't elite. They're his peers. So when I typed this in, I got this screen here, and as you can see, I got 411 plays. Now, I'd be ignorant as hell if I sat down and I looked through 411 plays. So what I did instead was I hit Command F or Control F, and you'll get this bar up top here, and you can type in the word deep, and what that'll do for you is it'll go out and search all the deeps. So when I'm watching Russell Wilson, I type deep, it'll say, well, there's a deep here, then I'll click it and watch it. There's deep there, and there's deep there. Okay, there's 3. So what I did was, when I got to this point, I took the number that it gave me and I took away the preseason game. So here, Dak Prescott had 1 preseason deep pass, so it left me with 37. So I wrote down Dak complete 37. You got it? So then the next step and all that, right? Take a look at this. Carson Wentz didn't play preseason, so his exact number was 25. So what I did was I took Carson Wentz's 25, which is his complete number, and then I went back to the database and I typed in completed passes and incomplete passes. So that gives us his total number of passes, which puts Carson Wentz at 61. So Carson Wentz's number ended up being 25 over 61, and that's how I got the total number for all these guys. And this was so interesting that the information actually almost became kind of addicting. So I said, shit, let's go look at Aaron Rodgers' numbers. Let's see what he did last year. So I typed in Aaron Rodgers 2018 completed and incomplete passes, and I did the process all over again. So the point of this exercise, I really wanted to look at completion percentage, right? Because it's not really up to Dak how often he throws the ball. And that could be interesting, because if Kellen Moore ends up being like the OC that we dreamed he could be, like, maybe there would be more deep pass attempts, and with more deep pass attempts, you would get more deep completions. I'm gonna talk to y'all a little bit more about that in a second. But what I got from Dak Prescott was 37 completions over 82 attempts, which ended up being 45%. If my math is wrong, y'all feel free to go in the chat box and check me out. I just took this number, divided, signed that number, and moved the decimal 2 places. So if you're a math major, tell me if I did that right. But I got 45% from Dak Prescott. And if you just kind of take that number with no context, 45% doesn't sound that great. You know, it's 45%. Like, you can't pass a test with 45%. So I just kept looking to compare him to some of the elite guys. And Tom Brady's at 45%. Now, he had a few more games. Like, he had, the conference championship and Super Bowl games. So he had a few more actual attempts than Dak Prescott. Now, not that Tom Brady's a part of a high-flying offense, but he did attempt more than Dak. But they both ended up at 45%, which I thought was interesting. Cowboy fans, at some point compared Dak Prescott to Tom Brady in his rookie campaign. I really wanted to show Tom's number. I got interested and wanted to see Aaron Rodgers' number. His was actually less than Dak Prescott. Now, Aaron Rodgers had 129 attempts but he ended up going for 43%, which is less than Dak. I ain't saying that Dak's a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers or a better deep passer than Aaron Rodgers. I ain't saying nothing like that. I'm just saying that Dak's completion was better than Aaron Rodgers. I even looked up the GOAT, Pat Mahomes, and what I got from that was I think Pat is 1% higher. Yes, Pat is 1% higher than Dak Prescott with Pat's 128 attempts. Which I thought was pretty fun, that and that's probably why we look at Pat or we look at these other guys and we say, man, like let's have some high flying offense like that. Well, they attempt more deep passes, but just based on the guys that we've been showing you, Dak is just as efficient as those guys. Now Carson Wentz got hurt. His first game was week 3. And I think his last game was like week 14 or something like that. So he only ended up with 61 attempts, but he completed 25 of those. So that still put his percentage less than Dak. Now there's going to be Eagles fans somewhere saying, "Hey, if Carson threw more passes, he would complete more. Well, he'll miss more too." So. I just think it's fun to make fun of Eagles fans. Now, what I thought was dope though, two guys that had a shockingly high number was Russell Wilson with his 54 over 104 and his 51%. And Jared Goff, his 61 over 124 with his 49%. I'm like, hey, Jared Goff, I didn't expect you to have a high, like a high deep passing percentages. But when you look at the guys that, that have these higher numbers, you look at Jared Goff and Russell Wilson, Jared Goff has the talent that can get him over the hump. And Russell Wilson has that prolong the playability to where he can find guys deep. And as I was watching film on Dak Prescott throw passes deep, I'm gonna show y'all a lot more of that when I talk in a second. Dak made a lot of his deep throws scrambling, finding guys later. Plus taking the whole Jared Goff talent angle, we have a lot more talent now. When you look at the Dak Prescott deep passes, I'm going to show a lot more for you in a second. When you look at the Dak Prescott deep passes, we got a lot more of them in the second half of the season, which was the after Cooper era. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if we get a whole season of Cooper and a little more continuity and a little more off-season work together and things like that, then Cooper can give you better deep numbers and Gallup can continue to be the deep threat that he was. This is just the big thing, the big collage or whatever, just so you can see everybody at one time. Jared Goff's head cut off, but that's what happens when you beat the Cowboys in the playoffs. You get treated like shit in Voch Lombardi videos, whatever. It's just interesting, man. Russell and Jared Goff were 1 and 2. And Pat was 3rd, and Dak Prescott and Tom Brady was tied with 45, and Dak completed more than Aaron Rodgers and Carson Wentz. At some point, I'm gonna stop being lazy and look up numbers for more guys. I want to see what Matt Stafford was like, what Matt Ryan was like. I want to see what Deshaun Watson's deep passes was like. It's kind of interesting to me. So, like I was saying earlier, this goes back to play calling and offensive coordinating. You know what I'm saying? Look at this, man. People swear Dak can't make a deep pass. People there's this lie, this myth, this fake stigma going around that Dak can't complete deep passes. And the more I look at it, maybe if we threw more deep passes, Dak would complete more deep passes. And we would respect Dak more as a deep pass thrower. Even this one right here, I was just talking about Russell Wilson earlier. This is an example of Dak creating more time and finding guys downfield, and that turns into a deep pass. You know what I'm saying? So there's this myth going around about Dak not being accurate enough or Dak not being a great deep ball passer. Well, he may not, but nobody really is. And don't get me wrong or whatever. I'm gonna pull some film on the Dak misses. I'm gonna break down those deep passes that Dak missed. I just want to let this marinate first for a second. And it's just interesting. And I made the Kellen Moore point earlier. Maybe Kellen trusts Dak a little bit more. Maybe Kellen trusts Amari Cooper a little bit more, to where if Coop comes to the sideline and says, yo, I'm beating the shit out of Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones can't see me, or whoever, whatever corner that we're playing that week, if those guys come to the sideline and if Kellen Moore doesn't have ego involved in him, then maybe we can attempt more deep passes, and we'll just go from there. There's something else I wanted to show y'all too. There's another deep pass. Here's another deep pass here. I'm not just playing like shenanigans with you. You can go to your Game Pass or whatever you use to watch film or whatever. You can go to each of these games individually and watch it yourself. I'm not BSing you, but it's one play in particular that one deep pass that I saw in particular that I thought was interesting, that I really wanted a piece of. I really wanted to show y'all. Not this one. Actually, let me just show y'all this one. It's another example of Dak rolling out, creating more time to great avoiding of JJ Watt right there, and finding guys deep. I think that's where a lot of Dak's deep passes are gonna come from. That's a maniac's throw. Look at this throw. It takes a maniac. And y'all saying Dak doesn't have an accurate deep ball, this shit make my back hurt. And I'm glad I was able to, dig into the research and just myth bust this real fast, But it was versus the Lions. It was the deep pass to Ezekiel Elliott. This one right here. This is something that I think Kellen Moore can do, moving forward this year. Something that's interesting is actually lining up Zeke at receiver. And this could actually be like a Tony Pollard deal. I think Zeke is, where the hell is Zeke at? Yeah. Zeke is, he's inside to the bottom right here. Check him out. And Zeke is just gonna he's gonna end up running deep, and he's gonna beat his linebacker. If we have that kind of matchup, why can't we get the ball to Zeke Elliott and we get some more deep passes to him? We know Gallup's gonna come together. Randall Cobb can find his way in the game. What's my man that played? Blake Jarwin finally learned how to bend in when we run the seam. So there's some more deep passing there. I think when you hear these guys say Dak Prescott is bound to have a better passing year this year, I fully agree with that. With Tavon Austin down bottom, Tavon Austin is another guy, and not only is Dak completing all these passes, but he's completing it to different guys. Coop got some, Blake got some, Zeke got some, Austin got some, Michael Gallup got some. Allen Hurns got some deep passes on here. It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun, and I can't wait to prove people wrong about my quarterback and win this damn Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And so we get to talk all that shit, and it'll be a fun football season. Hey man, this was a pretty lengthy video, but y'all seem to be cool with the longer video, so we gonna run with that. Y'all hold it down for me and hit this like button, pretty please. I don't ask for much. Hit the notification bell, because I'm gonna be dropping a lot of random videos, man. In terms of, we're going to be doing training camp stuff. I'm gonna be dropping a lot of blogs and live streams and things like that. We're gonna set the phones up and give the people a chance to call into the show and talk y'all piece. So please hit that notification bell so you know when we drop random ass live streams and film sessions and videos in the middle of the week just like this. Look forward to the incomplete deep pass video, and y'all hold it down for the Doski Woski. This was fun for me to do. Until next time, peace. YouTube Illuminati is taking money away from your favorite content creators, and people often ask the best way to support the channel directly. I tell them that's subscribing to my Patreon. Just $1 a month would increase production and the frequency of uploads. Basically, that means more content for you. For less than a bag of almond M&Ms, you can support the channel, call dibs on requests for future videos, and you can have access to Patreon exclusive material like my throwback film session. That's patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. I appreciate the support. Doski Woski. Salute.